The War of 1812. March 1813. The war thus far. March 1813 will see a lot of action at sea. You know, the other area of conflict in the War of 1812? Early in March, the USS Essex, a sailing frigate originally built in 1799 and a veteran of the Quasi-War and the First Barbary War, sails around Cape Horn. Cape Horn, at the base of South America. Cape Horn, the place where the Atlantic meets the Pacific. Its objective? To disrupt the British whaling fleet. The ship will anchor at Valparaiso, Chile, on March the 14th, having captured the British whaling schooner Elizabeth and the Nerida, a Peruvian man-of-war. Hey, who says the War of 1812 ain't international? The U.S. skipper, David Porter, will send a disarmed Nerida back to the Peruvians as a gesture of goodwill. But, looking ahead, on March the 28th, 1814, the Essex itself will be captured by HMS Phoebe and HMS Cherub during the Battle of Valparaiso and will then be pressed into British service, where she will remain until 1837. On March 3rd, Admiral George Cockburn, who will help burn Washington, arrives at Lynnhaven Bay near Chesapeake Bay. He will be second in command of the North American station under Sir John Warren. The Wikipedia article about Cockburn notes, quote, "He went on to be the first naval lord, and in that capacity sought to improve the standards of gunnery in the fleet, forming a gunnery school at Portsmouth. Later, he ensured that the Navy had the latest steam and screw technology and put emphasis on the ability to manage seamen without the need to resort to physical punishment." End of quote. Cockburn wants to teach the Americans a lesson. He will. Sticking with the Royal Navy, on March the 19th, Sir James Lucas Yeo, a captain with extensive combat experience, is appointed Commodore of the fleet on Lake Ontario, headquartering in Kingston. Yeo will hold his command until the war's end. Most accounts of Captain Yeo are positive, but my initial impression of him was a negative one, due to his failure to support General Proctor and Captain Barclay in their struggles on Lake Erie, and for his role in the court-martial of General Prevost, events outlined in Sandy Antell's book, A Wampum Denied, Proctor's War of 1812, events we will be covering in the future. But if you have a better opinion of Yeo, please share your reasons in the comments below. Hey, that rhymes. But whilst Yeo is getting settled, south of him, on Lake Erie, Oliver Hazard Perry, in command of American naval forces on Lake Erie, arrives at Presqu'Île Bay, Erie, Pennsylvania, on March the 27th. According to Sandy Antell, quote, "On 27 March, Master Commandant Oliver Hazard Perry, USN, arrived to take command, finding 3 gunboats on the stocks and the keels of 2 20-gun brigs laid down. Surprisingly, the high command in the Canadas expressed no concern over these developments. While Proctor prepared to break up Harrison's preparations in Ohio, the menacing naval presence to his rear steadily grew." End of quote. The Wikipedia timeline for the War of 1812 claims that by March the 30th, 1813, the Royal Navy will be blockading the U.S. coastline from Long Island to the Mississippi, i.e., to New Orleans. I'm not sure the coverage is that extensive by this date, but it is clear that from this point in the war, British strategy will be to keep the American Navy and American privateers bottled up in port. Thus ends March 1813, a month of action on the water. But what's happening on land? Or, more specifically, on the ice? By March the 30th, William Henry Harrison's Army of the Northwest has been reduced to around 2,000 men. The general himself leaves the front, for home, I guess, on March the 7th, but not before one final attempt to get at the enemy. On March the 2nd, Harrison dispatches Captain Angus Langham of the 19th U.S. Infantry Regiment with a force of 68 regulars, 120 Pennsylvania and Virginia militiamen, and 24 native warriors. Their objective? To cross the frozen ice of Lake Erie from the Maumee Rapids to Emmitsburg, Upper Canada, where they are to blow up the vessel Queen Charlotte, currently frozen in place. Langham's force leaves on some 30 sleds, but things quickly unravel due to disciplinary problems, which include drunkenness, men refusing to continue, and one sled falling through thin ice. Eventually, they find their road to Canada blocked by open water and abort this abortion of a mission. An aside, I find it amazing that Lake Erie would freeze enough to allow troops to move across it. Maybe climate change is real. But even as this comic opera is playing itself out on Lake Erie, on Lake Ontario, an American invasion fleet is being assembled. Objective Toronto. All right, Objective York. Stay tuned. If this is your first visit to 1812 Channel, my name is Warren, and I'm your host. I'm not a historian, nor am I an expert on the War of 1812. Instead, I'm a student wishing to learn about the conflict. Each month, for the roughly 3 years of the war, I will outline the major events. I will also review a book on the war. Did I miss anything? Any errors? Then please let me know in the comments below. When the barrage lifts, cheers! Pictures used in today's video, courtesy of Pix Here, that's PX Here. They show various men of war, but I don't know the names of any of the ships. I just picked these images because I thought they looked cool. The music is With the Sea by that patron of the internet, Kevin MacLeod. I thought I'd go with a nautical theme. Thanks for listening.